Welcome to another episode of Sorry I'm Late. I had, where are we?
Surprise attack!
Book Club.
Perfect.
Surprise!
That was perfect. Thank you.
I loved it. Flawless.
Yeah.
Flawless. All right, what are we doing here now, Tim?
I almost broke into your Animorphs Anonymous one, too. The podcast where we no longer talk about Animorphs.
Not now.
And may the
Not
nuts
now.
ever stick to your
So anyway, that's our greatest hits.
Hey, Charles, welcome to our show.
This is an adventure so far. I like it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm so lost at this point. I don't even know where I am.
I feel like that is the appropriate attitude to go into any Surprise Attack Book Club episode with.
Yeah.
And I love it, too, because this is not only a special episode of Surprise Attack Book Club, but this is a totally different type of episode, unlike any one we've ever done before. Because we're not talking about just one book, we're talking about many books, and we brought another human on to talk about it with us. So, hey, who are you, Charles? How do we know you?
Well, I think you're using human very sparingly there. Rock out of podcasting, Charles McFall. I believe I created all of you as figments of my imagination, and that's how I like to live into my life. Today, I am here on behalf of Dragon Con as official spokesperson, and I'm very excited to jump in and know you've got some special books that you're talking about. And so what all feeds are this going to be on?
Oh, it goes everywhere.
Oh, yeah. So many.
All over the place.
That's the great thing about it, is it shows up everywhere.
Anyone that anybody lets us touch, this ends up on it.
Well, their podcast feed, at least.
So this is the COVID of podcasting.
Yes.
Yes. You have to contact trace in order to figure out where we're going to be next.
Yeah.
That might actually get people to download more episodes. So they should check your contact tracing in your local iTunes catcher. So that is here, and I'm excited. It's didn't read any books, so let's see what we can talk about. It's going to be amazing.
Well, it's okay. We didn't fully set you up for failure.
We thought
yeah,
we'd make it easy on you to start. Yeah, we totally didn't. We totally didn't. Because the first thing we were just going to ask you to talk about is Dragon Con and the sort of panels that are there and whatever you want to give us about it.
Well, I'm going to ask you guys some questions too, but I will say in general,
All right.
man, there's so much. Dragon Con has something for everybody, right? You find your place at Dragon Con, and the biggest thing to always remember is fun, it's inclusive, it's safe. That's really the three big tenets of it. Beyond that, I had somebody give me grief today. Is that like a Halloween thing? I'm like, yeah, okay, ha ha ha. He's like, do you do just nerd stuff? And he was messing with me. But I was like, yeah, all the above. Or you go watch the wrestling, or you go to all the raves, and you go to let's stand in line at Starbucks because you got to have your coffee as you go through the con. But there's so much awesome stuff. And this year for Digital Media Track, we have a couple of cool things happening. One is we've got the Guild of Granddaughters for year 3, I believe.
Yeah.
And we've got Sketching Shakespeare for year 3.
Yeah.
I think. And Doodle Crew actually is what it's going to be. Is going to be on. And Tim. So,
Tim's here too.
but it's. I am actually super stoked to have our first guest of the track, and that's going to be Daniel Stoner Gossard from TikTok. I found out about him earlier this year, and he is just so pleasant to watch and talk to, and he talks about cooking with broccoli, but it's not exactly broccoli. But in his state, broccoli is okay. So, but we're going to have a lot of cool panels about how you deal with talking about controversial subjects on social media. He will actually be on a panel with you, Swan.
He will.
The digital media Shark Tank.
Yeah,
talking about
I'm
building
excited.
your business. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
this is
gonna
my
be
first
cool.
time on the Shark Tank one, so yeah.
It's going to be good. What I love about this is sometimes random ideas have happened in the past, like Shark Tank. other people just pick up and run with it. I don't even know who submitted it this year. I don't know. I don't remember. I mean, there's so many panels, but I don't remember who's running it. But I was like, I'm glad to see that. So, oh, look, all new names on here, which is a great thing. That's what we always try to do. So here's my question to all of you. What is the thing you're looking forward to most coming to Dragon Con?
The friends I made along the way.
I can tell you that I saw one panel, and I know we're going to talk about it later, but it has 3 amazing people, not anybody, like I'm not sucking up to anybody on this call right now. It's 2 of the authors that we're going to talk about tonight and Chunky are on a panel. And I got so excited about this, and I'm like, this is the panel that I like Charles made this for me, right? Like he just mushed all these people together and said, Tim, I'll have to go see this one.
Go with that.
It's for me?
Absolutely.
Made for me?
Yeah. Yep.
What panel is that?
Yeah, thank you, Swan.
That is it's Sunday at 5:30. It's how to break into voice acting.
Oh, fun.
That's
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
not
yeah.
even a digital media track panel, believe it or not.
Is it not?
No,
Oh.
yeah, I know, right? We're all surprised. Chunky got off
Yeah,
the track.
yeah.
He's our secret. But I'm pretty sure. I'm going to look it up. I can tell you what track it's on. But yeah, I saw that too. It's like most of his panels are digital media, but that one, which lines up perfectly for you, is a different track. And
Interesting. I didn't even give that a second thought that it might be on a different track because of the names that were on.
Yeah.
We love a crossover.
Because we're so
Yeah.
awesome on digital media. Did you know there are classifications to tracks? There are fandom tracks. There are fantasy tracks. We are a reality track.
No, I did not know that.
I didn't either till this year. I learned it.
Categorized like under sciences.
That's
No, I
reality,
didn't know
right?
that.
Yeah. So when you applied to be an attending pro, we were under sciences because I guess the reality stuff, but they actually have our own section now on the
Oh, nice.
approval thing because that was new this year that we'd get our own section. But yeah, skeptic track, paranormal track, science track, space track, and us. You know, it makes sense when you think about it. But yeah, that's why we get to do any topic we want, and it fits. And I love
Yeah.
it. So what about Alex?
I have so many different things I'm looking for. Like, not to take the sort of Swan approach and say like the friends we made along the way, but honestly, there's so many cool people going here that I'm so excited to genuinely see. I am incredibly excited to see how the Shakespeare panel goes, which again, I know this is not digital media because it's Steph's Shakespeare panel where she's just, if last year was anything to go by, the fact that she just pulled random people and made them act out Shakespeare, it was the funniest freaking thing. So good. And then I am so excited for so many other things that I know are going to happen in Guild of Granddaughters, but no one else does, and I hope it's not a disaster. So no, there's so many cool things going on and so many cool people to see. I genuinely can't wait. And I heard there's probably more bird panels this year, which I didn't get to go to last year, but you know, bird facts, love them. Gotta go listen to them. I will be seeking those out.
Well, there's an app you can check. Just search
I know,
bird.
and I'm just gonna look up birds in there and see what takes me.
I am surprised and not surprised all at the same time that there are not one but multiple bird panels. I guess it's under science. Where would that be?
Yeah, it's under the
Science
science
tracks?
tracks usually is where they are. But I believe there was one that they crossed over with dinosaurs last year, and that was more in one of the like sci-fi tracks because it was Jurassic Park birds kind of crossover one. So like there's just a lot of ground to cover with birds, honestly. And I think we should all be more aware of the bird panels happening at Dragon Con.
Well, if you go to the one on the skeptic track, it's all about how birds are robots here to spy on us. So.
You know what? That one I feel like is a personal attack, and I will go there, but just to be livid in the back.
Tim, that panel, Speak Up, Breaking in and Working as a Voice Actor, is actually on the film track. And it seems like it's in a larger room. H. Piedmont.
Yeah, I
that's
didn't know that.
Hyatt, I think. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's a very cool thing.
Yeah.
And that is the goal of the digital media track for all of you who want to do more things is you can definitely find a home here. And Swan's doing, 6 panels this year?
Yep.
I think. Jenna, aren't you doing a few panels this year?
I'm only doing 2 on the digital media track, and then 1 with the Brit track. And I didn't apply for attending pro this year because I was going to take it slow and easy. So
Nailed it.
because the past few years, the past few years I've had like 7, 8, whatever. This year I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be chill.
Yeah, you've definitely done a lot in the past. Well, look at you on the Brett track, and that's what I've always said is like, hey, come here. We'll meet you where you are. We'll give you what you need to get where you want to be. But then, like, hey, like Alex's little birds, just go out and find homes because it just spreads the talent and the love and the creativity that everybody needs, and it's really cool. So you're on the Brit track, Chalky's on the film track. Rob Roberts is doing the horror track this year, which is one of the first times, and he loves doing that.
He's so good.
And Tim. Tim, are you doing any panels? No, you are.
I have
you
my
are.
one. I have my
Yes.
one. I have way too much stuff that I want to do.
That is also a thing, right?
Yeah, that I just can't. I can't commit like these people can to doing a bunch of panels. And so I'm like, I'll do my one, and then I'll go.
It's an entirely different convention experience. Like,
Yeah. Like it's a lot watching y'all sprint from panel to panel, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go watch Chunky teach me how to be a voice actor. Like that's just. It's a lot of speeding around trying to keep up with that thing.
What about when you're going to get to see like people who are your friends, people you know, sit on stage with people that you've watched on TV or in movies?
So we've already seen a couple. Mike is doing. I guess he's moderating a panel with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles voice actors, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. So
Let's see.
Yeah.
He's doing a Heroes Cast reunion, the
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle voice cast.
Oh, I didn't see the Heroes Cast reunion.
Yeah.
I did miss that one.
These are alternative monsters, all of the crazy monsters. For the game track, Roswell's 25th anniversary.
Which I was surprised because it's actually the Roswell that I watched
Yeah.
growing up, and not the new one. And he was asking questions. I was like, I know this one. I actually know a piece of media. I got very excited.
And then his last panel is Resident Alien Guests, Visitors from Beyond. So he gets to sit down with Tudyk.
Oh man,
Nice.
does he really?
All I gotta say is he needs to remember who helped him climb up my back to get to that also because I would love to meet Tudyk.
I don't want to brag, but he's endorsed me, so
For president or
In life.
just in general.
Just in life, yeah. He got to do some people from the Arrowverse last year, or do a
both?
panel with them. Like
I was gonna say
Yeah, he
Tony had Paul Bettany,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's very cool.
And Steph too. We haven't even name dropped Steph Cranioli yet, but she's got so many.
she doesn't
good
exist.
panels.
She doesn't exist. No.
She's-
No.
We've
Because
had this conversation. I couldn't even wish her happy birthday because she's too cool for me to talk to. She's way too cool for me to name drop.
no, she gets to sit down with Nathan Fillion. No,
Yeah.
no, she's
Yeah,
dead
she
to me
does.
now because that's my spot. I need to talk to Nathan Fillion. Seth Green, John Cleese. Are you kidding me? She gets John Cleese.
Yeah, no, she hit Dragon Con Yahtzee
No
across the board.
kidding.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's all cherries. I'm so excited for her. And she also gets to do Shakespeare during the week. This is like your perfect weekend, right? And you're not on crutches. Amazing.
Hey, don't jinx it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God. Please don't be on crutches. Please, Steph.
No, because that's going to make it so much worse. She can overcome crutches to go sit with all these awesome people. How much worse can you make me feel, Stephanie? Thank you. I wish her all the luck.
We did our Horse Girls panel last year, and I just thought Steph wasn't in there, but it turned out she was just lying on the floor in the back because it was just more comfortable. I was like, that's hardcore support right there. Like, you can't even sit in a chair.
Well, she was in Loodle Crew, and I did not realize she was sitting right behind me, and I totally stole one of her jokes from earlier in the day from Gilda Granddaughters and repurposed it for my own uses. And then she just like crept up behind me and she was like, "Hey, that's my joke." And I was like, "Oh my God, you're right here."
Shit, you weren't supposed to know.
I can't believe y'all made me look that up. I'm jealous. As
you should be.
jealous. Oh, let's see what Henderson's got.
Yeah, I think I'm the least accomplished trash panda now.
Yeah, he's always got good stuff though.
Untrue.
He is doing Resident Alien Guest. Welcome to Patience. Welcome Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Live from Gryffindor. Well, he's just following my footsteps there. I got to sit down with Matthew many years ago, so Tony's just riding my coattails. I can say that. Comic Creation, the Web and Print Saga. Man, they got some great panels. I just love, don't you guys love the conversations that happen at these tables? And that's what I'm jealous of is I would love to be in that conversation.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to do fantastic. I hate them.
Yeah.
No, I don't hate them. Jenna, what are you looking forward to? Get us out of this death spiral.
Man, I'm looking forward to everything. I am going into this one since I've gone into them for the past few years so scheduled. I'm going in not looking at anything and just gonna pick some stuff day of and just go to it.
Nice.
That is a great way to be. I mean, both ways are fine. So when you did it scheduled before, obviously you did more panels, but besides doing the panels, what did you do to schedule? Like, were you rigid? Just like, I'm going to hit these panels and go see
I'm
these
saying
things?
like I was so scheduled. I had to be
Oh,
places.
dude, 8 to 10. Yeah.
Thanks, Charles.
Oh, look, here's my favorite story about Jenna. First year I met you, you were at the con. Oh, that's right. I'd gone to a different con and came across you in the show that you were doing with the two guys. Mm-hmm. You were already bringing that show to Dragon Con. So we'd interacted some there. We talked in emails or phone calls or whatever. And then you came to Dragon Con and you did your show. And then it was the Awesome Women of Digital Media. It was 5:30, 6 o'clock on like a Saturday or Sunday. And you were done. You were like at MARTA, hitting the station. And I was like, hey, where are you at? You're like, I'm about to get on the MARTA train. I'm like, do you want to moderate Awesome Women? Because we ran up short. You're like, hold on. And I believe you sprinted from basically the Westin all the way to the Hilton to come in. And did you moderate or were you just on it?
I was just on it that time.
You were still on it.
I moderated
Either
it
way,
the next couple
she was
years.
like, oh, I'm down. And then I was like, all right, we'll give you every panel in the world after that. Like, well, I didn't realize that's what that was going to mean.
It took me like less than 10 minutes to run all the way there.
Yeah, she ran. It was impressive. But it's the work. You put in the work, and it's amazing, and it's fun, and it's Tim.
And it's Tim. I am also not going to just walk up when wrestling starts this year and assume that I'll get in. Because that did not work out well for me last year.
No. No.
Why not? What happens?
I'll show up it fills up, it turns out. And they have to turn a lot of people away.
Oh man.
Yeah, we're gonna get there a few minutes early this time.
That's the Thursday one?
Yeah, that's Thursday night.
That's my sleeping night.
Smart.
Is that the only night you sleep?
It's the only night I don't have late night stuff. Honestly, I get in Thursday. I have a earlier evening panel on Friday and then some other stuff I want to check out Friday night. Then Saturday is my long day because my last panel starts at 11:30 p.m. and then I have a 10 p.m. on Sunday. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting year. The schedule is very different for me this year.
So what's something you'd go see? Do you guys, any of you go to like Artist Alley, Comic Book Alley, the shops? What do you have to do every year?
I spend as much time as I possibly can in America's Mart, traveling up and down the vendor hall. That includes all 4 floors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have to see all of it. I try to talk to as many because I'll see creators that have made things that I had not made the connection that they were the people that made the things that I like. Like I can think of Josh Hood being the first example. Like 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank is great, but I didn't realize that he was the person who did the art for it until I got there and until Jenna explained it to me and said, hey, Josh Hood is here. He did that comic you like. Oh, okay. So yeah, just getting to interact with those people. And meeting people like the author that I'm going to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Segue.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of us are talking around what
I
we're
know.
going to do this year
Yeah.
because we're like, we gotta wait till we talk about the authors.
Well, I love it too because Artist Alley is home for me at every other convention that I do. So it's so funny that it is a relatively small part of what I do at Dragon Con. Although I think I might have convinced somebody to come and help me table next year. So I might actually attempt to Artist Alley table next year, which would be very different, but could be very fun.
Oh, snap.
We'll see. I know. But I was like, yeah, I can't do that by myself. That's not a no. I need help for that one. Thank you. But yeah, Artist Alley is always important. I love that there is not only waltz and ballroom dancing, but there's also K-pop dancing, and that delights me. So that's a, now that I know, a must hit for me if I can.
We were gonna do swing last year, and we for what I think there was a panel that happened like right at the same time.
Yep. I think it was when
And it was
somebody
such a
was
bummer.
on. It wasn't just
yeah.
a like, oh, but yeah, because we were that
it's-
close
yeah.
to.
And I still want to do that. I still want to do swing. Yes. And then Tim, we have plans too that I can see from your face. I'm surprised about Starship Horizons.
Oh,
Tim and
yeah,
Erica
yeah,
goes to
yeah,
Starship
yeah.
Horizons.
Yeah, we
yes.
have to hit Starship Horizons.
Well, it's because you kept telling me no, specifically every time to Starship Horizons, because you're going to do your own thing while we're playing the game Starship Horizons.
no, she's going to quartermaster
No,
us.
sorry. Yes, I'm running the game.
Yeah.
Yes.
My bad.
But then
Okay, so
you've also refused to play the actual game.
because I think it's funny.
Yes.
So we just did Starship Horizons. We worked for them at Gen Con. They are coming to Dragon Con. This is, I think, their first year doing it as an actual like gaming sort of thing. And what it is a simulator of like a bridge type game. You go on, you like go fight aliens or whatever. There's all sorts of plot lines. But I know
That was the
my
worst
goal.
explanation I've ever
It
heard.
was the worst
fire
explanation
you.
ever. Well, because
know.
they can't. Listen, I have a headset and I'm ready to rage. I loved running it and like doing that volunteer work so much and like setting up all of the games for people that like we're going to come see you at Dragon Con, and everybody else, they're like, yeah, come on in, we'll let you play the game because you're so great, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I'm going to come and work for a little bit. That's my jam.
This is not the only thing that she's promised to work at, right? Like, this is how she spends, like, not only does she overload her entire life with work, she then goes to vacation where she works more, because she's already told one of the authors we're going to talk about tonight that that's how she's going to spend the 4 hours that they're on the fantasy book selling mart or
What
whatever
I'm
it is.
doing Friday night.
Yeah. They're going to go peddle books for him.
Okay, but Tim, see, this is what I don't think you understand is like it's a fun little treat for me that, you know, when I have my day work and all my artwork that I do that, then I take a little break and then I go and do my night work, which is also just a fun little treat for me. So it's just, I just get to do more work.
That's what it was working at Starship Horizons. They were all like, we're going to go do work. And I was like, this isn't work. We're hanging out at a video game.
Yeah.
Like, this is not work.
I'm watching people play a freaking spaceship video game. Come on.
Yeah. Like, I wish this was my real job.
Yeah.
Someday.
That's the curse of the creator, right?
Yeah.
We just love doing that stuff. And we run our track at the level of a track that has 30 volunteers. We have 9, including me. But it's because nobody wants to leave. Everybody wants to be a part of the show. It's just like you're talking about. You hanging out. You're helping the people you like to help. You're around the things you want to be around. And that's... Man, I didn't even think about that level of contacting people at Dragon Con. Because, of course, you can volunteer at Dragon Con and work the different tracks. But what you guys are doing is kind of a higher level of that, right? You found the people you want to interact with. And you go, I'll sit at your booth and make you money.
Yeah.
Just let me talk to you and hang out with you for a little bit. And how easy was that? Was everybody like, yeah, sure.
Yes. Yes. I like the way that person lit up at the idea of having salespeople. Yeah.
I need to know your secret because I just get the restraining order says no answer every time.
No, not you. Not you.
We're good, but you're closing your table. No, we're good. We're good.
We're good. Thanks, though. Yeah, no, it was wonderful for me because we as a group did GalaxyCon up in Virginia. And it was so nice. Not only that I was sharing the table with another artist, but I had people. And I had salespeople who would like go out and talk to people, and then I had people who could watch the booth and still sell for me. And this is not to disparage any of the other people I have who sit at my booth. If you are willing to come and sit and work a convention with me, thank you so much, because it's so nice to be able to go to the bathroom. I really, really love that. But it's tough, and it's not everybody. Like, I was not a born salesperson. I don't enjoy that part of it. So it's a big ask to have somebody else be like, here, not only do I need you to be a salesperson, but also sell my stuff that you don't have any emotional connection to. Okay, good luck. Thanks. Bye. So it was so nice to have that group of people. And I was like, oh no, I trust you completely. You will speak on my stuff, honestly, probably better than I do. And I can just wander around the con and look at stuff and not be worried. That's so neat.
So who are the people in your neighborhood? Who are the people you're working for? Who are you looking forward to? Who are we talking about tonight?
I think this means I get to start, and I'm so excited. Okay, so we are talking about authors because, of course, Surprise Attack Book Club, we read books. You guys see the connection? You guys see what we were doing here? We're making it relevant. So I'm talking about Clint Hall, who is on the digital media track, which is super exciting. So I'm so excited. So the book that I read and listened to was Steal Fire from the Gods, which was, oh my God, okay. I'm going to try to do this without spoilers, which is very hard for me because there's a lot that I want to talk about. But it was one of those books that, like, you get 3/4 of the way through and you're like, how could we go harder than we've already gone? This feels like this is the end. And then it just goes harder. And it was so much fun to listen to. It's a very dystopian. This is right in the beginning. This is not spoilers. The robots have completely taken over, decimated all of humanity because their programming when AI became more sentient than, as they call it in the book, like just an if-then scenario, they decided that the human gods were worse than the perfect robot gods that they would be. So they took down humanity, and then it becomes a very, like, there's kind of elements of the Matrix and a little bit of, like, Hunger Games, and there's an adorable, they don't say it, but I'm relatively sure it's a sugar glider. That's like his pet. It's so good. It's so good. And the sugar glider steals shit from everybody, including the most bad guys. Like, the sugar glider can just, it does all this, and he never follows him. It never explains what the sugar glider is doing. This is a very small part of the story. I'm just really focused on it.
No, this is selling me completely on this. It's
so good. It's so good. He's like such a strong presence, this sugar glider. And then, like, honestly, one of the most emotional arcs for me. Like, the entire book had so many good things going for it, but this sugar glider, I would die for right now. I'm telling you. And he's probably, like, Clint's probably gonna, like, I'll see him, I'll be like, I love your sugar glider. And he'll be like, please don't talk to me. That's not a sugar glider. But, because he didn't know what it was in the book is the thing. Anyways, so it was fantastic. And he also has a podcast, too, called The Experience Conversations with Creatives, which is fantastic. Like, it looks like they just interview a whole bunch of people and, like, talk about all sorts of different aspects of stuff. So he's also, a guy after our own hearts doing podcasts. That's what I read, and I'm so excited about. I just want to keep telling you guys more, but I really feel like it's going to be spoilery. What do you guys want to know about the book without spoilers? I'll try to answer questions. This will be great.
Is there a sugar glider?
Listen, my theory, it's a sugar. Okay, he describes it as a smoke-colored small creature that can climb on him, that has a white face except for black sort of rings around its eyes, and then it has flaps of skin it uses to glide between trees. So it's really seeming sugar glidery to me. He also has, like, he's got to be domesticated from a domesticated breeding program because he has, like, kind of a blaze on his face like a horse. So we don't have to get into that, okay? That's my theory. But yeah, he's just such a, like, I don't know. I just fell in love with the sugar glider. And there's so many good characters. I feel like I'm really doing a disservice to Clint right now because there's absolutely a fantastic story of, like, sort of a found family betrayal, relationships twist that I know Emily would love that you don't see coming with, like, familial relationship twists, and a romance sort of story, but also apocalyptic in a very cool way. And I'm just obsessed with this sugar glider. So, like, really, this is on me.
I feel like that's very us, though. Like,
yeah,
it's a whole book, but
But the sugar glider.
That's one thing.
If he did a sequel that was The Adventures of the Sugar Glider, I would be into it. His name is Nico. He's perfect. I would read that like every day.
Do you agree with the political stance of the robots?
It's very important. It's very important you answer honestly.
Again, without spoilers, no, I don't
Okay,
agree with the
okay.
political stance of the robots. Does that mean I think the humans are 100% correct? No. And I think that part of the journey was also our main character learning that and adapting and growing. Again, this is where I'm talking about those Hunger Game aspects, where you really think you know the villain and the hero, and then the longer that you live in that world and experience that, the more blurred those lines become. And you really have to find your own way through the political system.
I'm reading this book now, and we will, like, I don't know if you know this or not, but me and Alex just went through a divorce
Oh, yes.
because we got into
horse
such
divorce?
a horse divorce because we got into such a massive argument.
I believe it's pronounced hors d'oeuvres.
I don't know, Charles. You're from the South. I don't know if I can trust you.
I mean, horse divorce. I'm just translating. Horse divorce is what I hear in the normal speak.
We got into such a terrible argument about a book that now I have to know what the stance is of the robots.
The problem was we discovered that we were married halfway through the argument when I told him that the kid just needed to have more options for his future. He couldn't just become a fisherman. He needed to diversify before. He couldn't make any decisions at 15. He's too young.
And I said that he was out there. He had discovered something that he had a passion for and was making him feel fulfilled in life, and that Alex was just putting too much pressure on him.
That kid's going to grow up one day, and he can't just survive on fishing.
That's
There
the
are
phrase.
fishermen.
That's the phrase, though. If you teach a man to fish, he's learned to fish.
I don't think that's the phrase.
That's not the phrase.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
if you teach a man to fish, food. That's it. That's how it goes.
I want that bumper sticker.
Teach a man to fish, food.
Food.
There we go.
Nailed it.
Perfect.
Anyways, back to the cool Clint Hall book. There's also a magical aspect of it, but that comes from technology that's very cool as well.
All whales are bastards.
All white whales.
All
Excuse me.
whales are bastards. Yeah.
Okay, so after we absolutely, make Clint think that we are insane with the zeroing in on the sugar glider, what should we know about him as an author to be able to talk other weird stuff at him?
That's a great question. Oh my God. Okay. Man, I don't even, like, what kind of, you want to know, like, other things that he would be interested in? Is that what you're trying to?
Oh, yeah, let's do that. I like
Like,
that.
when we approach him on the panel? Okay. I think any sort, of course, approach him after his panel. And he's like, please leave me alone. And we're like, we love your sugar glider. And he's like, get away from me.
It was just the way you said approach him that, oh my God, even that feels so menacing. Or it's not me being casual, making connections. It's like, I need to talk to you about a sugar glider.
That's how Alex will do it, though.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, hey, spoilers, it worked really well for the author I'm going to talk about. So.
It did. That poor guy. But yeah, no, I think I would be, first of all, I really want to talk to him about just sort of his entire stance on AI, because he had this super interesting dichotomy between, like, the robots, but the main characters were kind of like religious reform as well. Like, they came from religious backgrounds. So, like, throughout the entire lens of it, there's this very interesting sort of angle where he's like, hey, I'm not religious, my parents super were, but I kind of know this stuff, and here's, like, versus the AI whose whole stance is like, we did better than your gods. And so it's a very interesting sort of web that he wove in there. So I think anything like that, like talking about the apocalyptic aspect of it, but from a place that's a little more nuanced than just like, hey, zombies, like, which is also cool, but that's just, I don't think what he would gravitate towards if we are having a conversation where we approach him like normal people, kindly and not weirdly at all.
I mean, that won't happen, but I like to imagine.
I like to imagine. He also came up with, again, this is super early in the book, so, like, I'm not going to count it as a spoiler. There was secret rings with little compartments that they used to pass messages between the Human Alliance, which was the main human forces that were fighting the robots before the apocalypse. And, like, I was just like, this is such a cool, like little piece of technology that he like wove throughout, but then came back in a big way in the end. And I'm like, oh, I want to talk more about like what you imagine for the technology, because he was very detailed and like thorough in the way he described it. Like it's one of those sci-fi things where it's like, yes, you took a leap at one point to make that work for the story as kind of a magic, but there's enough science behind it that you clearly did a lot of research into like how this and that would work. And then I also just love that in the apocalypse, like crazy piece of technology, future tech, and he still has to charge it. And I love that for all of us. I love that we will not get away from phone chargers, according to Clint Hall, ever in our lives.
Ever.
Just never going to happen, guys.
Yeah, in all reality, man, I love the idea of adding tech to ourselves. I am not scared of a future where AI decides that it's smarter than everybody else. Have you seen a blue screen of death? Do you realize how much goes into computing power? Yeah, I'm good. I think we'll be okay.
Count Charles as in for.
Yeah, I'm in for the robots.
Yeah, and again, I think that you maybe would find a lot of parts of this book very, like, just the fact that you said that, like, God, this is going to be a little spoilery, so if just clap your hands over your ears for 30 seconds if you don't want to hear it. There are parts where they use, like, tech failing that way, like the program written incorrectly, to, like, subvert the robots. And, like, that is another, like, thing in here that works out really well for them. So I think you're exactly on the right path here with the blue screen of death thing.
All I hear, again, is Charles is right. I just love that. Never get old. Never gets old.
And we recorded that for you. Like, you can clip that and just have that.
There you go.
Just publish that.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be his text message. Ding.
Yeah,
Charles was
every time
right.
again.
Charles was right.
Drive my wife crazy. So Tim is a fun guy. This would be the Tim. You're Tim. Clint is a fun guy.
Tim is a fun guy.
I was
You're
like,
not
hey,
wrong.
man.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong.
Thanks, Charles.
I haven't been drinking yet. I promise. But Clint is such a baby face. This will be his second or third time on the digital media track talking different things, I think. And but I think you talked about approaching, which I think is a very cool thing on the smaller panels. You know, big panels, stage panels, you don't do that, right? There's big mics, you just do what you do. But that's what the beauty of the little is not the right word. We're definitely not little. Other tracks are not little, but the lesser seating panels, where it's an intimate experience. Very much so. I would have to say, all of you have been on panels. We all welcome some kind of nice, polite interaction. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you're going to first, I'm sure, say how much you love his book before you harass him about the glider, I think it says everything. You're good. You're golden. It's gonna be
I think
awesome.
it'll just come out, I love Nico so much, and he'll be like, oh, God.
Yeah, sometimes my mouth gets ahead of my brain, and it just comes out as a lot. So, we can hope. We can hope that I put the sentences in the order they're supposed to be in.
I have faith that y'all will be
Thanks.
fine. Or that you'll run very fast afterwards.
Yeah. I'm surprisingly quick, so it'll be good. No, I think there's a very special thing about walking out the doors of Galleria 6 and just seeing like a big circle of people who chat after the panel that just happened and connect and talk about things that were mentioned on the panel or things that they enjoyed or excitement over getting to meet these creators. That's a very, very cool thing. And it is so unique to Dragon Con that I see little bits like it at other shows, but nothing like what we have.
Dragon Con is very unique. And we have held council outside of those rooms so many times, and it is always fantastic. It's like, I cannot tell you how many times we've cleared a room right after a great conversation, and we get it loaded in, and I'm not needed, but I make sure everything's running 5 minutes after the panel starts, right? So 35 minutes after the last panel ended, and I walk out into that hall, and there's Swan, and everybody just talking, still sharing ideas from the panels, and that's the best thing to see. Then I still get hey guys, no, we're good. We're good. Thanks, guys.
Okay, I got a question for Alex. Do we want to talk about where you can find Clint to talk to him about sugar gliders, or do we want to save that for the end?
No, I'm going to tell you where to find him now so you can jot that down because I don't want it to be in the long list. Like, basically, we'll be reading you a Walgreens receipt at the end. So instead, I'm going to cut it down now and tell you where you can find Clint because he is going to be on Be a Podcast Guest Pro, How to Get Booked and Invited Back Saturday at 7 p.m. in Hilton Galleria 7. Writers Go Digital, Creating, Engaging, and Finding Readers Sunday at 10 a.m. in Hilton Galleria 6. So those are the 2 panels I have for him. And we're going to find out if there's secretly more.
Nope, that was it.
Excellent. I love it.
We did it. He's going to be
So,
in
yeah.
digital media.
Digital media, that's where to find him. Saturday, 7 p.m., Galleria 7. Sunday, 10 a.m., Galleria 6 in Hilton. Get there. See him. Look at his baby face. He'll love it. You can also, if you want to like download his book, it's everywhere, but you can go to clinthall.com and that will tell you, give you links basically to download his books and all sorts of other things.
It's where I met him last year, was in digital media.
I've never met him. So I think this is great. I think this is a good energy to bring to someone who I've never met before. But you know who it worked with? Emily.
It worked with my author, Jason Doro, who I was on panels with, and then because I have a garbage broken brain and could only do Jason Dororo every single time, I assaulted him with that after a panel because I thought it was hilarious.
It's funny.
And tag team, Alex also came at him full steam last year because, spoilers, she was the only one to finish the book in time because we were going to try and talk about it last year and I super didn't finish it. So we had to pause and do it this year, but was very excited to talk to him about it and came in hot and came in hard and I just love it so much. And so, yeah, it worked great with him. He talked to us afterwards. Like we have continued our relationship since then despite our best efforts. So I would love to talk about his book, which I have now officially read, which is so exciting to me because I super, super enjoyed it. So his book is Akathar's Greatest Trick. So this is one I downloaded on my Kindle and read it there, but also I'm kind of excited because I would like to get an actual physical copy from him, and I think I'm going to try and do that at Dragon Con this year. There's also another little secret possible spoiler things, and I might try and make a little thing for him and get a fun gift from his world of creation in exchange for that. So I'm very excited. I was looking on his website talking about the book because much like Alex's, I can't say a lot about this without spoiling stuff. And I don't want to do that because it is the big moments are so good and you feel so great getting to them. And I absolutely don't want to take that away from anybody. But he described it in this such cool way. And it's a gas lamp epic fantasy. And I was like, well, if that's not the coolest way to talk about a style or a genre, then I don't know. But I put it in my notes as fantasy plus. And spoilers, I think, because at this point it will already be out. But hey, we talked to him. And something that I love about his genre fantasy work is it's not just strictly high fantasy. It has mystery elements. It has all of these other components to it, which I think was why it was so approachable for me as somebody who doesn't read a ton of high fantasy stuff. So I liked it. Here's my very rough pitch that I wrote down to try and not say anything that I shouldn't. So I said, imagine if you got to be inside the heads of all of your D&D party's characters and you still didn't see the plot twists coming. Fantasy mystery, stage magic, and all sorts of fun and great character development and just epic shit happening in Akathar's Greatest Trick. I don't think he would describe it as epic shit, but I'm describing it as epic shit. So it's very, very fun. It is absolutely all the things I love about playing D&D and TTRPGs, where I feel like I am immersed in the world that I am being presented with. I get to move around in this space where we follow a whole bunch of different characters. You get a ton of different perspectives. And even with having so much time spent with each character, you still get hoodwinked in the best possible way. 2 thumbs way, way up. Cannot say enough about it. No specific tiny creatures to get attached to, but very, very fun.
Well,
Yeah, I don't.
well.
Kinda.
But I was going to say, special where I feel like it was written just for Alex, there's a whole bunch of bird names in it, which
he just dropped to me the other day. First of all, whenever anybody writes about birds, I'm like, they're okay. Like I probably shouldn't delve into this. I'm just going to be frustrated. No, He chose each one of those for specific aspects of the birds. I'm so sorry, Emily. Continue. I'm so sorry.
I'm not sorry at all. I love that. That makes me even happier. Why I enjoy talking to Jason so much, I adored being on panels with him before I'd ever read the book and before I'd ever been utterly ridiculous with him, is he is so in for the goofs and he is so in for the community and the enjoyment, and getting to talk to him about it and how much he's like, no, like if people want to write fan art about my characters and have this whole other thing, like I love that. Like that's so cool that you want to play in my world. And that is very much how I approach a lot of my creation. And because I love a collaborative creation, I was able to make something that made somebody else inspired and they wanted to make art based on it. That's the dream. That's incredible. So to hear him just be so positive and so excited about it and want to talk more about it, I was like, yes, this is perfect. I love it. You are our kind of people.
Can I abuse my power of having been there for that interview to
do.
prod you to talk about one more aspect of it that I thought was so cool?
Oh gosh, yeah.
When he talked about how the plot of that book unfolded. Yeah.
Okay, yes, this is wonderful. And this is not spoilery. And if it is, I'm absolutely going to cut it out so you'll never know. But there is a lot of this that is centered on a stage magician. So it's hard to say he's the main character. He is the namesake of the book because there are a lot of characters that you spend a lot of time with. But the way that the book is structured and plays out is how an actual like stage magic trick would play out. The setup of it, the misdirect, and then the payoff, and even kind of the like realization and understanding. And learning that was so freaking cool, having read the book, because I was like, oh my gosh, no, that makes so much sense, because it is absolutely the misdirect. And much like I think good stage magic is done, I wasn't mad that I got hoodwinked. I was just like, oh, you son of a gun, you got me. That's so cool. It was very fun, and it was very much the, not only are we going to pay off you paying attention, but also we're going to reward you for reading through all of this with these great moments and these great reveals. I think I don't even want to say complaint. My only moment with him was because for so many of these book club podcasts that we do, we read YA lit, which is like 200 pages, written for kids. Reads pretty quick. I can wrap that up in about 2 hours in an afternoon. And I told him, I was like, oh no, but this was an actual whole ass book. And I was like, oh, it took me longer because you actually have a ton of plot and a ton of setting and all these great descriptions about these characters that I then want to draw and cosplay. Oh yes, it took me a little bit longer to get through it, but that's a great thing and I'm so happy about it. I might have known this. I forgot in the moment when we were talking about it, but he is also a voice actor, which I think makes the incredible diction with which he uses on all of his TikToks makes so much sense. And I was very complimentary of him for that because I was like, no, you speak so well and I can understand everything you're saying. And that is a true delight for me because boy, I don't have great hearing. And sometimes I'm just like, what are you saying to me?
She's calling out the Southern people specifically.
I was not. No, I told you. The Southern thing actually served me so well recently. And so the practice I've been putting in paid off.
So Jason is going to be on Reading and Writing with Book Talk. Cloaks, Daggers, and Whispers, Intrigues and Spies in the Shadows on Saturday at 1. Building Yourself versus Your Community on our track Sunday at 10 a.m. Then Speak Up, Breaking In, and Working as a Voice Actor Sunday at 5:30.
Yeah, and I want to shout out the special one that I'm very, very excited for. He is a part of Fantasy Gather, which is, if you're looking in the app, it is under The Gather. Welcome to Literature, and that is Friday from 8 to midnight in the Hyatt International Ballroom. So that is not only you can go in and meet the authors, but you can actually purchase their books there. So that is a very, very cool thing, and that is where you will probably also find Alex and I just selling our butts off for things that we didn't make.
Yes, and if you bring him a Taylor Swift friendship bracelet, you get free stuff. I don't know what that is, but I think you should do it.
But I did ask one of my Swiftie friends, be like, okay, what does this mean and how do I do this? And she's like, okay, so here's the thing. And I was like, perfect. Okay.
It has to be
excellent.
Teshover themed, though.
Yes.
The Swiftie friendship bracelet has to be Teshover themed. And you get a Teshover map, which I will promptly steal from you. Like
from me?
Yeah.
Am I making
no,
the bracelet?
Whoever gives him the bracelet, as soon as that map changes hands, it's mine, and I'm running away.
I was gonna say he said map, and I was like, I want that.
I am swiping it.
The map so bad.
Okay, just so we're
Did
clear,
you-
I like Taylor Swift, but I'm not a Swiftie. It's just like a summer camp friendship bracelet, right?
That's what it looked like.
With
The
the
one that he
beads?
showed us.
I don't know.
Yeah, he showed us one that somebody
like CM
had
Punk's
made.
bracelet.
He made yes, like CM Punk's
Okay.
bracelet. They made him a Swiftie friendship bracelet that said Marriott, and it had the Marriott carpet colors
Ooh, that's
of beads
cute.
on the outside. And I'm like,
Nice.
yeah, I think that's the kind of thing he's looking for.
Yeah, so I was going in like, what are Taylor Swift colors that she uses, and apparently it aligns with each album. So I'm wondering if I'm like, okay, so how can I marry that with a themed to Akathar's and make him? It'll probably be made out of embroidery floss because I don't have any beads. But
Do you
that's my
think
plan.
How Dare You is related enough to the book? Because I feel like it is. I feel like that's what I said
think
to
he
him.
would love that. Because
Great.
he knows what he did.
He knows what he
He
did.
knows what he did.
So this is when we talk about, hey, maybe, approach the people that you're excited to discuss in a friendly and open way. You also always have the option of going up to someone and being like, how dare you?
I told that story about when we met an author at Dragon Con, and I went up and I said, hey, I really appreciate your work, and Jenna was standing next to me, and the author looked at me and said, why is she looking at me like that? And it was like, oh, because she read your book.
Because she knows what you
Yeah.
Scott,
Yeah.
why is it always so squishy?
Yeah. That was his only response to that question. It was Scott Sigler who we were talking to. And she was like, it's very squishy. And he's like, yeah, it is very squishy.
Oh, Sigler. I think he's gonna be there this year.
No, I didn't see his name on the list this year.
Yeah.
But I need to email him and tell him that The Crypt is one of the best books I've ever read. Because I was going to tell him that this year at Dragon Con. But he's not the author I'm talking about, so I'm going to let Jenna go first before I talk about the author I am talking about, though.
Oh, it's my turn?
You guys stick around to hear what Tim's
It's
gonna
your
say.
turn.
It's my turn. All right. The good news is that even if I tell you every single plot point of this book, there's no way for me to spoil this book. So I'm going to talk about Dungeon Crawler Carl, the series pretty much in its entirety as it is right now, by Matt Dinneman. What I need everyone listening to do before I say another word, pause this thing, just look up the cover, the original cover of the first book for Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I want you to tell me if this is a book you're going to read. Because it's probably going to be no. You're probably going to say no. However, what you're going to do is you're going to read it cover to cover and buy every version that they have and listen to every audio version that they have because it's so stinking good. All right. So it is a lit RPG, post-apocalyptic, fantasy-esque, sci-fi, sort of, it just keeps going. It just keeps going. And there's new elements in every single book. Like, there are new themes and elements in every book. But at its core, it is this man, Carl, who is facing the apocalypse with his cat Donut. It is deconstructing everything in this man's life and just working through every sort of trauma that you could possibly have as a human being, while also thunder kicking goblin babies until they explode. There's a mantar in book 2. If you're wondering what a mantar is, it's what you think it is.
Holy crap, he's got a ton of panels too.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, there's so many.
Listeners, I just need you to know that if you had an audience insert, it was Charles. And I got to watch Charles Google the cover of the book and look at this stuff. And
I forget you see my face. I'm looking at this.
I did. It was perfect.
Yeah.
So this is Alex's husband's fault?
Yes, absolutely. This is all his fault. Because he did make Tim read this book, and Tim was like, I think I like this book. And I was like, no, there's no way you like that book. There's just no, it's not good. It can't be. I've seen the cover. It's not good. And he's like, no, I think you should, give it a try. And I was like, all right, I'll give it 2 pages. I gave it 2 pages. I was like, I'm not reading this. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that to myself. I owe myself a better life. And I did. And that better life is continuing to read that book because it's so good. It's so good.
No business being that good.
Truly.
It doesn't.
Truly.
Everything, all of the themes that are used, you would think that it would lead you down some sort of weird, dumb path. And it goes weird and it goes dumb, absolutely. But it knows itself in its weird dumbness. But every single part of it that is weird and dumb pays off in such a good way. In such a smart way, too. It constantly just makes me go, what the hell did I just read? And also, why am I crying?
Can I throw in one quick thing also?
I think you need to, because without...
Okay. Two things. One, I did go to work recently, and I did have somebody come up to me and say, hey, I've got this book series you need to read. It's called Dungeon Crawler Carl. And I was like, I'm OG Dungeon Crawler Carl fan. I've been doing this for at least like 2 months. Like,
Hipster.
Stop it. Yeah. But one thing you can't leave out, if you're going to talk about the magic that is the story that Matt Denneman has written, you also have to talk about the amazing voice work of Jeff Hayes in the audiobook versions, because it is next level. It is so phenomenal.
Yeah, it's so good. Honestly, I don't know if I would have picked it up past page 2 if I hadn't started listening to the audiobooks, because it's already really hard for me to read. They're really thick books. So it's hard for me to read something that long because dyslexia and everything starts getting jumbled and muddled up. But man, does he put every ounce of everything he's got into reading those books. It's so good.
It's like, yeah, and it was so dumb too, because like Scott was like, you need to read this book, and I was like, oh, this is going to be stupid. Let me start it. And then I start reading it, and then like book 3, and I'm like, why is this dumb lit RPG book making me feel emotions? Like, what is happening here? When did I become, like, super overly invested in this book series?
Sir, I did not sign up for emotions.
Yeah. So as he's, like, navigating the apocalypse, Carl gains levels in his chosen racing class. And it gains access to, like, different types of magic and other technology and stuff like that. And it's like the D&D adventure that your dumb friends want to go on, with a really freaking good GM that lets you do the dumb things and then pays it off.
So I've got to read this description. Dungeon Crawler Carl, 6-book series, Kindle edition by Matt Denneman. From book 1, the apocalypse will be televised. You know what's worse than breaking up with your girlfriend? Being stuck with a prize-winning show cat. You know what's worse than that? An alien invasion, the destruction of all man-made structures on Earth, and the systematic exploitation of all survivors for a sadistic intergalactic game show. That's what. Join Coast Guard vet Carl and his ex-girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut, as they try to survive the end of the world or just get to the next level in a video game like Trap-Filled Fantasy Dungeon. A dungeon that's actually the set of a reality television show with countless viewers from across the galaxy. Exploding goblins, magical potions, deadly drug-dealing llamas. This ain't your ordinary game show. Welcome, Crawler. Welcome to the dungeon. Survival is optional. Keeping the viewers entertained is not.
Get out there and kill.
I almost want to read this thing.
I hope you do. It's fantastic.
Oh, it's I'm telling you.
And there's, God, I don't want to talk about this one point, because you want to talk about critters that you get attached to? So many. All of them. Every critter.
Yeah.
But there's this one critter in particular that one of the characters becomes very attached to, and it's so epic.
And do yourself a favor, listen to the audiobook version. There's actually 2 versions of the audiobook. There's like the audible version, which is the straight read from Jeff Hayes, which is amazing. But then on what is it, Sound Booth Theater? They have the immersion tunnel version, which is like a larger cast sound effects version. And I have not listened to that one yet, but just based on Jeff Hayes' solo reading of it, I imagine it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and even the audible versions, like, they have guest stars come in and read one character for a couple of the books, and it's just so good.
Notable names.
Charles, I feel like the last line that you read, survival is optional, but losing the viewer interest is not, is nearly your tagline for Digital Media Track. As you were reading that, I was like, oh, it's for him. It was written for him.
You're not wrong. It's whoever told you the show must go on never had a show that sucked. So we try to make it. This dude's got so many. Some of his signings, right, and different things. But the one that popped out to me was on the writers' track on Sunday at 2:30. Who told the characters they could do that? And that sounds like such an interesting writers panel to go to.
Heck yeah.
Especially when you start talking about the craziness. That's a crazy book.
Oh man, wait till you get deep in the series. And if you listen to that first audiobook, you will.
Yeah.
You will. You'll be waiting for book 7 just like the rest of us.
Scrolling through the artwork for these
It's
books.
nuts. Yeah.
He's in boxer shorts on one of them. The cat's on at least 3 of these things.
There was an amazing cosplay last year.
That's got to be a Mantar, and that is no bueno.
Yeah.
On that one, I don't know, man.
Mantar is top half man, bottom half man.
Yeah,
But it's the split that's weird.
It's like Travis Jones when he skipped leg day. That's a joke for like 3 people, but
Oh, that's a deep cut.
right?
That's a deep cut joke.
yeah. There's a quillfish on one of these books. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, I need this to be an animated series on Netflix or something.
Yes.
It would be amazing.
Call up Titmouse. Be like, hey, I know you're working on Vox Machina, but you would kill this. I'm so enjoying the Charles live react to this, and just it's so good.
Yeah, I'm telling you though, as soon as Scott told me to read it, I was like, ooh, this is gonna be bad.
Yeah.
And then after I read it, I was like, hold on now. Hold on now. That was pretty good.
I felt personally attacked because I feel like you really said that I had led you astray with Scott telling you to read bad books. And that's because Scott didn't start with me with Dungeon Crawler Carl, a very good book. He started with all sorts of the 8,000-page long-form fantasy where the first 16 chapters are about how you mix a potion in a caravan for 16 chapters. And then when I had the audacity to say, I know I've read the King Killer Chronicles because that's the one where they killed the king, he said, no, that's the one where they don't kill the king. And I had no idea what book I was reading. So, Dungeon Crawler Carl is not that.
I can say, Tim, you don't have to take that. You've already gone through a horse divorce. You can just have her talk to your lawyer with that kind of attitude.
It's ongoing. We're using Patreon to divide our assets by viewers or listeners.
All I've ever heard from Alex is how Scott gives the worst book recommendations. Then Scott sends me a message and says, hey, read Dungeon Crawler Carl. And I was like, oh, here we go with the terrible. And I read it and I was like, Alex, what are you talking about? These books are great.
Yeah, you guys didn't have to sit through the lead up to Dungeon Crawler Carl. A great book.
He got all his minor league years out of the way, and then when he finally breaks onto the scene, you're like, oh wow, this kid's pretty good. No, you haven't been there.
Okay, is it my turn? It's my turn to talk about the author that I'm going to go see.
Yeah.
So I saw this person. His name is Bob McGoo. Did I say it wrong?
No, you got it right. That's my boy.
Yeah, okay.
I've not read a single word he's written, but
okay. All right.
All the cons. I love Bob.
Yeah, guys, great. I go and I see him in this panel, and they're talking about AI and media, and it's this very, very good balanced panel giving both sides of the opinion. And I'm like, wow, this is really great. And then at the end, he's like, hey, I wrote this book, and maybe I'll be interested to it. It's and I'm going to give you the entire pitch here. This is all you're going to get about it. Redneck meth wizards in Alabama.
Yep, that's the pitch.
And I was like, and I know that my face just did the thing where it's just like, huh? Okay, I'm sold. We're done. We don't need anything else, right? Go talk to him at his booth a little bit more about it. He says that pitch works. What he said, I think he said about 60% of the time. So most of the time they'll stop it. They'll be like, hold on, tell me more. And the other ones will be like, and then immediately turn and walk away very, very quickly. But yeah, this is my kind of story. If I were to, I'm going to sum it up for you. The way that I would describe it is by calling it the Methsten Files.
Yeah, Dresden meets Smith. Yep.
Yeah, that's about the best way that I can sum it up. It's about a guy who lives in a storage shed, and can access magic powers through illegal means, we'll say. And he lives in not exactly an affluent part of town. But yeah, and it's a ton of fun. And yeah, talking to that guy, it is just really, really super cool guy, really intelligent guy, and I can't wait to talk to him now that I've read the book, now that we get there.
So, would you be interested in seeing him do some improv and storytelling?
Yes, absolutely I would.
He is going to be our guest on Wise and Nerdy, where fatherhood meets fandom, at 5:30 on Saturday night in the Galleria 6.
All right.
He is
Wait,
one of
who's
our
on Wise and Nerdy? Is it anybody we know?
No, nobody knows.
Okay.
Just me. Just me. Jamar. Just us.
I will add that one to my schedule because I absolutely will. You know what? It was so funny. Charles had that immediate reaction, and I was like, "Oh man, I screwed up his last name. It's probably like McGalf or something."
No, it's
and
really Magoo. We give him so much grief for it.
But no, absolutely super cool guy to talk to. He gave us free stickers. He told us that the only rule about the stickers is that they have to end up somewhere they're not supposed to if you get free stickers. So I immediately sent him a picture through Discord showing him my place where a sticker didn't belong. But yeah, I can't wait to talk to him more.
Whoa.
Nope.
You got to rephrase that.
I don't want that rephrased at all.
It wasn't on
exactly
a person.
how that.
It was not a person sticker.
I mean, you were not clear, Tim.
No.
I guess I wasn't.
No, he is fantastic.
Yeah.
We had him on last year in Dragon Con for some author panel, I'm sure, and he came up and was talking to me, and we just hit it off. And then we did Chattacon this year. He was supposed to come to another con here in Georgia, but he didn't. And then we're doing Dragon Con, and then we'll both be at Conjuration in the fall.
Oh, nice.
He is just the most fun to be around.
Yeah, I hope I get a chance to talk to him more this time too, because everybody's always in such a hurry.
He's going to be signing a couple of times. So it's like Friday at 10 a.m. and Saturday at 12 p.m. at the Side Street Book Market.
I did see that.
And so he'll be doing some signings there.
I don't even know where that is. Yeah,
It's a vendor event.
It's Mart 2, Vendor Hall, Floor 3.
Yeah.
I will say that was one of the challenging things about trying to find comic creators that I really liked is figuring out the panel rooms and stuff like that, because it's so much artist alley, and that's great. The panel rooms are kind of where, what floor am I on? Where am I going? Which place is this?
It can be a little bit intimidating.
The lit track is somewhere totally different, like it's in its own thing, and then you also have the art gallery section, and that's a whole separate artist thing. So it has been a nice building year to year of I am learning the hotels. I am learning where to go to find these things.
Do you like the Labyrinth? Then you will love Artist Alley, because you're going to figure out all the mazes, and you'll always get where you need to go some way, somehow.
Yep. If you like a dungeon crawl, have we got a dungeon crawl for you?
One quick thing that I want to throw out is talesbybob.com has a boatload of stuff on it, like podcasts and other lists of the books and things that you can find him working on. But what I just found is that there's Audible versions. So I will be purchasing those the moment we get off this call.
Does he read them?
I don't know yet. I hadn't made it that far yet.
Man, Bob is a great I was just shocked, because I don't think about people that I know actually having other people who know them from their work. And it's like, he's the best. He really is. He's so much fun. And by all means, Tim, he will talk to you as long as he can give you time. At the cons, I don't know about Dragon Con if they'll have a table or not. I'm not sure what his setup is. But if you go by his booth, they have ripped up 3x5 cards, so they're very jagged, sticking out of the thing. It says vampires on cocaine and Dresden on meth, and I'm like, that's the best advertising you could do for your books.
I tell you, as soon as he said that, Red Meth Wizards, you could hear the record scratch, of my reaction, just like, wait, what? I'm sold.
That's good stuff. So many good things at Dragon Con.
So, Charles, I got a question along those lines. You do a ton in digital media and everything. Do you, in these last couple of years, have you had more time to go out and explore other parts of the con and see other stuff?
You'd be surprised. Yeah. actually. We have a really fantastic team at the digital media track. And while I do a lot of the work throughout the year with the planning and the arrangements and working with people and moving the schedules around, by the time we start, unless I'm on a panel, I'm not needed. And that was a very weird thing last year. We finally hit the pinnacle of that last year to where for the first couple of years, I really just felt like I needed to be nearby. I needed to make sure everything ran right. To be honest, one year it was me, Joe, and Scott. And we had other bodies, but it was me, Joe, and Scott running everything. But yeah, last year, even Scott, we got kicked out of the room. So now we got it. Y'all go do something. And we found ourselves just sitting in the back hall with coffee going, what do we do? So I've expanded out this year. It was perfect timing. I'll be helping with the parade this year. Not in the awesome form of sitting there and doing commentary, because I think I'd be great at that. But they have professionals from the CW or whatever doing that. I'll be actually moving reporters through the line so they can talk to different people. And then it is in the app. I got tapped because Regina Kirby, who runs programming for Dragon Con, I've asked her a few times, like, look, how come, in all seriousness, let me get one of these amazing main stage panels. Like, I can talk Nathan Fillion all day long. And she goes, do you realize how many panels you do? It's like, yeah, I know. I put them on. She's like, then why are you talking to me about getting on the main stage? Like, because I'm not on those panels. I just make sure they happen, have a great team. So, yeah, I get to this year be on stage with Anson Mount recording his podcast, The Well, with him and his partner and a guest. And now I'm not a part of the panel, which is fine, but I have the best seat in the house. I'm going to be sitting there with my headphones and my laptop recording, because I'm actually recording and producing their episode for them live at Dragon Con. So I get to do cool stuff like that. And it's so much fun. And then, honestly, I don't go wandering around too much. I do go explore a little bit and learn more about other tracks, but my Dragon Con is just seeing the show come off. So just sitting in that back hall, watching two rooms go together, y'all fighting each other with the cheer off, popping in last minute, just walking right to the microphone and going, hey, Swan, draw me like one of your chickens. And then she did. I was like, okay, way to lean into the
You sure did.
It's a blast. It is just to see all the creativity and everything. I am sure, I know, this is the director speaking in me, not so much the spokesperson, but I know that all the other tracks have fantastic programming, but digital media is just, we do the show, we make, and it's 64 little shows, right? Every panel has its own production and you guys bring so much to the table on that. And I just love seeing it play out. It's the magic. It's what I go for.
We also have them streamed
Yes.
to the internet.
Yeah.
Like, you can watch us do this, which is so perfect for the digital media track. But that's an incredible thing. And I think anybody who has had to do any live tech can tell you that that's like the kiss of death. Like, oh, no. You want to do this and you also want it to go out online with seamlessly? No, that's not how this works. That never works.
Right.
So the fact that we do it for 4 days.
5. It's Thursday night. We start off now. Kick off at 5:30 Thursday evening, and we'll stream that and some other things. We don't stream a ton on Thursday because it's like we're doing the Voice of Geeks Network is sponsoring a meet and greet, right? For everybody to kind of come together, talk, share ideas. They're going to do some not team building things. We're going to do some things that helps get you talking and those kind of things and just be fun. We have karaoke that night, so that doesn't get streamed. Because, how are you going to stream karaoke? You just get violations all over for music. But yeah, starting Friday morning, every panel that's in 6 and 7, other than a very select few, go out. So we have two streams that you can watch. It's
Twitch.tv/DC Digital Media and Twitch.tv/DC Digital Media 2, the number 2.
Are the two channels. And what's funny about that is the history of digital media and podcasting is kind of hide yourself, don't make waves, and we'll just duct tape it and figure it out. And so the first year I was more or less a shadow director that year, and I was nervous because nobody knew I existed. And I'm at the director's meeting on behalf of the then director, and I finally just walked up to Regina, who, if you don't know her, it's in a director's realm. She's got to wrangle over 30 track directors and main programming and all the music programming. Basically, everything that happens that's a show, she has to keep us all in line. So when you're at this meeting, she's thinking about the people not doing right and the people asking for things they shouldn't have. And so she's very stern-faced. And as big as I am, it's like Swan being mad. I'm not going up to her when she doesn't look happy, because that's just a bad day. And I had to go up to Regina and like, oh, I'm here on behalf of Podcasting Track, and I'm just curious, is there a way to get streaming? And she looked at me. I'm sure, knowing her now, I know it wasn't this, but I inferred. She looked at me like it was stupid and the scum of the earth, which is not how she did it, but that's how terrified I was in the moment. And she goes, of course you do. You're the Podcasting Track. You go talk to that dude right over there, and he hooks you up with the internet. I'm like, cool. Right off the IT I went. And ever since then, we've had a mainline internet dropped into the room. And it's just grown from there. It's a lot of fun. It's crazy to think of what we pull off. And it's a we. It is a we. If it weren't for people doing the panels and people doing the volunteering and monitoring the rooms. And I cannot tell you legit how many times Swan has just showed up in a room like, hey, Swan, and she shoves a Mountain Dew or a coffee in my hand and takes off. I'm like, all right, Coffee Fairy, I like you. Everybody be like Swan. It's cool stuff. But people do that, and we all take care of each other. I mean, first year the air conditioner went out, and we hadn't brought enough water. We just put out a call like, hey, we just need a couple packs of water. That was on a Friday. We had so many packs of water show up that day that we were giving them away, giving packs of bottled water away at the end of Monday, saying, please take these home. It's a community like no other, and it's amazing.
I love that. Hey, quick note. If people want to join that community, how do they do it? What's the best way to do it?
See, somebody taught you well, Swan.
Right.
Linktree is I love Linktrees. Everybody should have. We've gone from you should have a website, which is a good thing to have, to get a Linktree. The hardest part is explaining it. It's linktr.ee, but Linktree /DC Digital Media Track, and it has everything. It has a Discord on there, which is open and free. It has both the streaming channels. It has a YouTube channel, Facebook, which Tyra Burton and I run Be Awesome together every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And that is The Con Goes On. It's panels. We've had, actually one of my favorites a few weeks ago was going it solo, basically how to podcast as a solo podcaster, which is ironic because there's 5 people on the panel. So that's funny. But we do panels, we do takeovers. But like this, you can record Surprise Attack on Be Awesome together as a takeover and have a whole different set of audience, a whole different set of people playing with you and talking with you. And then Tyra and I do some discussions some nights, and some nights I interview people. So it's just everything I think Dragon Con is, digital media track all year round. And I love doing that.
It's impressive to me how approachable it is. And it's really just pop in and introduce yourself, which to your credit is something that you say in almost every welcome and introduction, everything. You're like, just say hi. Just come in and say hi, introduce yourself, and then make the thing.
I didn't understand why anything would be closed off at Dragon Con the first year I went. I mean, I didn't know Dragon Con. I just went, and it just struck me as odd as it'd be unattainable. And I went to that very first, so I went tongue in cheek on the title this year. I'll get to it in a second, but I went to the very first wrap up panel. For me, it was the very first wrap up panel. And they did have a lot of the same people on the panels that year because that was the people they knew they could get. Right. And there was just no easy path to do things. I was like, well, how do I submit panels? And it was kind of a clunky process then. And that second year I went in and said, can't there be some kind of way to build a community, some kind of way that new faces can just show up and go, hey, this is what I do. And now we go, hey, let's all work together. And nobody knew how to do it. And I'm not even sure Discord was a thing then. And very quickly after that, I learned about Discord, was shown Discord, and we just opened up the ideas. And now we have this, I think we're over 400 members in that community now. That's all either fans of what people create, or mostly, well, we're all fans of what people create, but mostly it's creators working together. And that whole pitch a panel room is probably the busiest room throughout the year. Oh, I got this idea and that idea. And that's how it should be, in my opinion, is just you open up a door to let people connect, and then the magic happens.
And I feel like it's great too, because if you're in Discord, you have all of these eyes on it. And if you have someone who's like, hey, I'm looking for this type of creator to have on my panel, you've got people who are like, let me at this specific person who would be a perfect fit for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing the hard work that was the in-person meeting at other conventions and online and all of this, and you get it all in this one place. And that's really, really nice. And that's the, I think, goal of any community where you want to build stuff together.
You would hope. And the tongue-in-cheek title, I don't know if y'all have seen it in the app yet. I get so much grief for calling it convergence or whatever it is. I lost my word now, but for the kickoff, the starting panel. Confluence, thank you. Confluence.
It was a multi-syllable. We weren't ready for it, Charles.
I wasn't ready for it. I call it convergence. So, there's that. But I couldn't think of anything better, even though it's kind of a meme, right? It's kind of a thing. The final panel of the digital media track is going to be called Like and Subscribe. It's the kickoff panel. I mean, the wrap-up panel, rather. But it's like, what else should we call it, right? At the end of the day, you call the action, connect in, and to the point of what you were saying earlier, Swan, is any creator, anybody who does anything, even if it's your friend's thing. I know you do a lot of stuff, Tim, but let's say you really want to promote Bob. You would say, hey, I'm Tim with talesbybob.com, right? Because you're just driving things. But that's it. You just sit easy. You don't just say, hi, my name is Alex. My name is Alex from Guild of Granddaughters. And then you ask your question. And at least on a digital media track, 9 times out of 10, somebody will ask you a little bit more about, oh, what is that you do? Mm-hmm. And it's just guerrilla marketing, and it gets you used to promoting yourself because we don't do that as much. As Swan pointed out earlier, it's hard for you to sell your own books, and I get that.
Nailed it. But yes, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on, Charles, and chatting with us about Digital Media Track and all the things, and listening to us chat about authors and giving your perspective on that, which I think is exciting, especially because you've known a bunch of these people possibly before we did, and just known them throughout the con. So that's very, very cool. So thanks for hanging out.
It has been a blast. I thought Surprise Attack was, surprise, here's the book, read it in 5 seconds and give it an opinion. So this is even more fun. It's a lot of fun. And
we're cruel, but not that cruel.
And I love the format of it just shows up in the different show feeds, and surprise, here's the show within a show. That's so Inception. That is so good.
Well, hey, we're going to do our self-promotional stuff. So where can people find you if you want to speak on behalf of digital media? If you want to speak on behalf of your own stuff, you can do that too.
Well, you heard about the digital media link tree, and if you like that, you'll like this link tree. It is linktree/RGOP42. And that is everything that I do. Wise and Nerdy is on there. Be Awesome Together is on there. Finding the Stories is on there, which I'm still trying to hammer out season 2 and get it put out. And just lots and lots of fun. And then you'll find me listening to a lot of the stuff you guys do.
I feel like we'll put, I will make sure I put a note to myself to put all of the links and information in our show notes. So we talked about a ton of authors. We talked about a ton of amazing people. That's a lot to remember. So I'll make sure that that's in there so that you can find that. But speaking of Linktree, I think the best way to go about that is Linktree/join the clubs. And that gets you to not only Surprise Attack Book Club, it gets you Horse Girls, it gets you Animorphs Anonymous, it gets you Dungeons and Dracon Beams, it gets you Doodle Crew, it gets you Sketching Shakespeare. I feel like I'm forgetting other ones. Late Starters. It's all of the things. We do so many things. Yeah. Some of them we're going to do live at Dragon Con. It's got links to the Guild of Granddaughters where you can watch our previous years of insanity and just absolute wonderfulness. You can watch us sport. If you want to watch us sport and then after that you want to watch us make cupcakes, it's all there. You can have both of those things in the same YouTube playlist. Did I miss anything, Alex? There's so many. I forget.
No, I think you got it all. We have a couple other Twitch streams on there, like Jenna Chill with one singular L. We have Dragon Knight Adventure Friends, Knight with an N, not a K, because it's like the darkness and not like a guy in a metal suit. There's so many things that we are help with doing all that jazz, so please check it out. I think, Emily, your own stuff with Swan Name Emily is on there because people can buy stickers from you. People can join your Patreon and get all sorts of different stories and stickers and things like that. I mean, there's so much content between all of us. Please check it out. linktr.ee/join the clubs. I'm just repeating it twice because there's so much stuff.
It's good.
We convinced you now. You need it a second time.
Yes. I love it.
Hey, is the way we hunt now on that link tree?
I don't know. Might be. Might not be. There's no way to know.
Hey, I think we should throw that on there.
Is someone we know
Okay.
on that?
We can.
I think somebody we know is on that. I think
Does he have a
somebody.
great Appalachian accent?
How dare. Of all the ways you could have pronounced it, you chose the wrong one.
That's so good.
Just so you know, that's how it's said by me. Around my area, not just out of my mouth, but in my area. That's how people say
It's
it.
so funny because that's how it's said in the Horse Girls outro starting today in Huntsville.
And we never saw Jenna again.
We'll see you again next time. Maybe.
So you're asking if I will kneel to our AI overlords.
I would never ask that. I'm not a robot. I can't ask you that.
I'll be their human concierge. No, that's not the right word. I'll be their
Concierge?
It's whore's divorce.
Concierge.
consigliere. That's what I'm saying.
Way to make her point, by the way, about it. Just make all the Southern people look bad immediately after we get called out for it. Thanks, Charles.
Oh, poor Tim made the mistake of slightly mispronouncing something once
Really?
on a
Tuna
call with
wound?
Alex and I.
Yeah,
That's why
thank you,
did
Alex.
Tone
Thanks for.
Around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tuna
It's
wound.
Tuna Wound.
Tuna
And he has not
wound.
been able to escape it for like a year at this point.
That's crazy.
We're piranhas.
Yeah.